The story of Jesus Christ is one that has inspired millions for over 2,000 years, but there are still many questions about his life that continue to intrigue us. One of the more common aspects of his life, before his ministry began, is the reference to him as a carpenter. But how much truth is there to this, and what does it truly mean? Was Jesus really a carpenter in the traditional sense, or was there more to his trade that we often overlook? Let's take a closer look at the details of Jesus' early life and explore this question with a fresh perspective. The Gospel accounts of Jesus as a carpenter. The most direct references to Jesus being a carpenter come from the Gospels of Mark and Matthew. In Mark chapter 6 verses 3, we find the people of Nazareth questioning Jesus' sudden rise in wisdom and power. Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary? Similarly, in Matthew chapter 13 verses 55, the crowd says, "Is this not the carpenter's son?" These verses describe Jesus as being identified as a carpenter, the son of a carpenter, and this has been interpreted by many as simply indicating that Jesus followed in the footsteps of his earthly father, Joseph. However, what does this title really mean? While the term carpenter seems straightforward, the Greek word used in these passages is tekton. This word is not limited to just a carpenter working with wood, but it also refers to a craftsman or builder. This expands the definition of Jesus' work and opens up possibilities that his skills may have extended beyond simple carpentry. The role of tekton in ancient times. Understanding the word tekton is key to understanding what Jesus' trade might have truly involved. In the ancient world, a tekton was a skilled worker, someone who was trained in a variety of crafts. This could include woodwork, but it could also encompass masonry and other types of construction. In Galilee, where Jesus grew up, the availability of wood was limited and stone was the more common building material. This suggests that Jesus might have worked with stone, clay, or other materials alongside wood. In the context of first-century Israel, it was common for men to learn a trade from their fathers. Joseph, being a tekton, would have likely taught Jesus these skills as a part of his upbringing. Therefore, it's plausible that Jesus was not just working with wood, but might have also learned how to construct homes, shape stone, or build structures, just as his father Joseph did. Jesus and the construction of his spiritual kingdom. Jesus' work as a carpenter was more than just a trade. It symbolized his role as a builder of both physical and spiritual structures. His experience with construction likely influenced his teachings on life, impermanence, and God's kingdom. In Matthew chapter 16 verses 18, he speaks of building his church upon Peter, showing his deeper mission. Jesus wasn't just constructing a physical house, but an eternal spiritual kingdom. His followers and disciples are part of this ongoing building project. This illustrates that Jesus' carpentry was a metaphor for shaping lives, faith, and salvation. His earthly work laid the foundation for his spiritual work. The labor of love. Jesus' early work. It's important to consider the physical nature of Jesus' work before his ministry. Working as a carpenter or builder required long hours of manual labor, sometimes in difficult conditions. There were no power tools in the first century. Everything was done by hand. Jesus, like many others, would have spent long days shaping wood, working with stone, and performing tasks that required patience, skill, and strength. These experiences are part of what makes his humanity so relatable. Jesus did not choose to enter into a life of luxury or political power. Instead, he lived the life of a working man, which gave him a unique perspective on the struggles and hardships of ordinary people. His humility in embracing a common trade highlights his commitment to fully understand the human condition. As Paul writes in Philippians 2-6-8, Jesus humbled himself by taking on human form and enduring the trials that come with it, including the work of a laborer. The significance of work in Jesus' life. Jesus' choice to work as a carpenter is significant, showing that he wasn't just a preacher but someone who lived the realities of human labor. By working with his hands, he demonstrated the dignity of hard work and the value of contributing to society. This aspect of his life connects with everyone who has faced the challenges of work. Jesus understands the struggles of long hours, frustration, and striving for a goal. His life as a carpenter makes him more than a spiritual leader. It makes him a relatable figure for anyone in the workforce. Through his example, he affirms the importance of labor and dedication. Jesus as a teacher and builder of hearts. Jesus' life as a carpenter also foreshadows his role as the ultimate teacher. Just as a builder carefully constructs a house, Jesus worked to build the lives of those around him. His disciples were like raw materials, and through his teachings, his life, and his example, he shaped them into the foundation of the early church. When Jesus spoke of the rock upon which he would build his church, he was referring to the solid foundation of faith that would be established through his disciples. This concept of building extends beyond just the early followers of Jesus. It encompasses all believers who have been shaped and transformed by his love. Jesus, as the craftsman of souls, is at work even today, continuing his work of building his church by transforming lives, one person at a time. The craft of spiritual construction. Throughout his ministry, Jesus often used building metaphors to convey spiritual truths. One example can be found in the Sermon on the Mount, where he compares those who hear his words and follow them to wise builders who construct their homes on solid rock rather than sand. Matthew chapter 7 verses 24 to 27. This image of building a sturdy foundation highlights the importance of establishing one's life on the teachings of Jesus, which offer lasting security and strength. Furthermore, Jesus' references to construction and building remind us of the eternal nature of his kingdom. While earthly structures can be destroyed, his spiritual kingdom will endure forever. Just as Jesus worked with materials that would eventually decay, his work now involves building something that will never fade away: the lives of those who follow him and the eternal church he established. Jesus' understanding of impermanence and endurance. One of the most poignant examples of Jesus' carpenter background comes through in his prophecy regarding the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. While his disciples admired the grandeur of the temple, Jesus said, "Do you see all these great buildings? Not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down." Mark chapter 13 verses 2. As someone who worked with stone, Jesus understood the immense effort that went into constructing such a building. Yet he also understood that nothing on this earth lasts forever. This message is incredibly powerful. Jesus was reminding his followers that no matter how grand or beautiful the world's accomplishments might seem, they are temporary. Only the things of God are eternal. His kingdom is not built on material wealth or temporary structures. It is built on eternal truths that will never fade. The legacy of Jesus the carpenter. When we consider Jesus as a carpenter, it's easy to think of him simply as a man who worked in wood and stone. However, his role as a builder has far deeper significance. Jesus was, and still is, constructing a spiritual house, a kingdom that will last forever. His work, both physical and spiritual, was a manifestation of his love, humility, and dedication to the eternal purpose he was sent to fulfill. As we reflect on the life of Jesus the carpenter, let us remember that he built something far more important than any earthly structure. He built the church, he built our hearts, and he is continually working to build a relationship with us. This carpenter from Nazareth was not just shaping wood and stone. He was shaping the future of humanity, one soul at a time. And that's a wrap, folks. Who knew Jesus was not just building disciples, but also building the ultimate spiritual empire, right? If you enjoyed this deeper look at the carpenter of Nazareth, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss more divine insights like these. Drop a comment below. Are you Team Carpenter or Team Master Builder? See you in the next one.